1,000, 2,000 emails per day easily and land on the inbox every single time.
Right.
It's low effort, high profits.
What's your story with Instantly?
And you don't really need to be like Elon Musk, like type of smart.
100%.
How can you deliver value to this person? What makes you stand out?
What's your vision like now for the next few years? Instantly is already doing that for
That's when you do not get results, when you literally...
And the cheapest way,
the moment where my mindset completely changed.
so people referring us to other people because they find that. How did you cross path with cold emailing?
In 2025 specifically, we are going to focus more on...
Hey everyone, welcome to Are We Rolling? This is a podcast where we deep dive into the minds of top sales and marketing professionals, especially those who have mastered the art of cold outreach. I'm your host Moen, and today we are kicking off things with an absolute legend in the space. Our first ever guest is someone who truly embodies success, humility, and respect. Felipe, the director at Instantly, not only has he made waves in the industry, but he also understands that behind every sale, every campaign, every number, there's a human. And that's what makes this episode so special. Felipe's insights on cold outreach, growth, scaling are pure gold. But beyond the strategies and tactics, today's conversation is about the mindset, relationship, and what it really takes to win in this game. You are in sales or marketing or just someone looking to level up, this episode is something you don't want to miss. I hope you enjoy getting to know Felipe as a person, as a human being as well, just like I have been lucky enough to get to know him. So thanks for taking time to watch this. Cheers.
So, hey Felipe, thank you so much for joining us today. And before we start the episode, obviously we'll talk about a lot of things. But, I would really want to congratulate you for what you have become as a person, as a professional. Your story is very inspiring. And my overall intention is to people, they learn from your story. So, yeah, how's the way treating you?
Yeah, no, first of all, really appreciate you having me here. I think it's mutual. I have a lot of respect for you, your business, and your family, and also your faith. You're a very inspiring person as well. So I think just to begin with, one of the reasons of where I am today is because of people like you. So thank you once again.
You're welcome. I think it's very humble of you to say, in your story, from whatever I know, I think there is a lot of dedication, hard work, and consistency to be where you are. So before we talk about all the good stuff, how was your childhood like? What was it like?
Well, I was born and raised in Chile in South America. So I always describe it like playing a video game in difficulty hard, because you don't have really like the business environment or like the mindset to like thrive. Like, for example, when you are born in like a megapolis or like Dubai, for example, where everyone is just thriving. So everyone is literally putting blocks in their mind that you cannot achieve certain things. So I think that was very good on a personal level for me to always have sort of like that reminder of how tough life can be. But at the same time, I never had things very easy in life, that you need to work hard in order to achieve things. That kind of set the standard to where I am today. And to be very honest with you, I'm still not satisfied. I don't want to say with life in general. I'm pretty satisfied on a personal level because I'm a family man. I'm married. I'm very happy with my family. I've been blessed. I can't complain there. But I'm talking about on a business level. I feel like more can be achieved.
100%.
So I think you summarized it pretty well. I think if I have to start with an advice for people on how can they grow or build something, I would say is surround yourself with people that will help you grow, which is like people like yourself, that I surround myself with, the Instantly team, with other agency partners, and also be consistent. I think with those two elements, you can really start seeing a difference in your life.
It's totally relatable to me. So in my story as well, first thing is like I'd never have friends of my age. Every single person who I call a friend is on an average 5 years older to me, and because they get to experience a lot of things in life earlier, they have been kind of a mentor to me to guide it to the right path. And of course, they are good human beings. Yep. So it helped a lot. I have a question. So you mentioned like a lot of people, they don't aspire to get into business in Chile. So what was your breakthrough? How did you think like, okay, this is what I'm going to do? What inspired you, or what was the story behind it?
I don't say this too often because, I like being like low profile in general. But I studied in top school in my country, where you can only enter by, being really good, a really good student. And a lot of my friends from school, they now work for Facebook and for Google and like big firms. And those are really smart kids. I was probably one of the least like smart in my classroom because everyone was so smart that it was like very humbling. And I think that also shaped me into what I am today, because I realized that just being smart is not everything. And for example, I noticed one trend that a lot of the guys I started with, they lack social skills. And I realized they could be better rounded. I mean, they could be better if they're just better rounded individuals, but they were so focused on the academics that right now they're great engineers at like big companies. I will say the rare group is like a founder or like starting a business. They usually work for someone. So
Makes
obviously
sense.
I don't want to generalize things, but this is like from a personal experience. So yeah, being in a very intense environment was very, humbling for me, but also it helped me today professionally. And then what happened is that my family put a lot of pressure for me to be either an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer, because the school I started with, I think around 20,000 presidents of Chile graduated from.
Wow.
So it's like really
The top.
It's the top, right? And then what happened is that when I turned 17, 18 years old, when it was time to like transition to university, my parents were like, so what's coming up next? And I was like, well, I was working every weekend, by the way, just saving money. And I was like, well, I'm going to Europe. And so my family was a bit shocked, They were
That's
like,
a bold move, actually.
It was
to
super
move a continent at a young age.
Yeah. And the reason behind that is because I just didn't believe that there was just one path towards success or happiness, or however you want to define it. And my father is a teacher. My two sisters are teachers.
Amazing.
So my family can be a little bit conservative when it comes to academics and stuff like that. Also with religion and things like that, but in a good way, of course. They mean good. They just they just want functional human beings in society.
Correct.
And I think they expected me probably to be a teacher too. But at the end of the day, I wanted to shape my own path. I didn't want the path that my school set for me, which is like a lawyer, a doctor, engineer. I also didn't want the path my family wanted. I wanted to shape my own path and discover it myself. So then what I did is, I just bought a ticket, go to Germany. Actually, it was Holland, Germany, like in the border. I told my family on Christmas, like Christmas dinner is like a very special moment for family. And I think I ruined Christmas for my whole family. Everyone was like silent when I told everyone, because they asked me, like usually when you have these family gatherings, everyone is talking. So what are you going to do for next year? Because it's usually at the end of the year. And so I told my family, like, I'm actually going to Europe. And I just want to sort of discover myself. I want to go in a journey, and I want to take a sabbatical year. And my family was completely like, they couldn't believe it. They thought I was going to like end on the streets. I'm just gonna like I just ruined my whole life forever. So that was kind of like their perception. And the good news is that I think that was the moment where my mindset completely changed, because once I got to a complete different society, not just Europe. I think I could have gone to Southeast Asia. I could have gone anywhere else. I could have come here or to Saudi Arabia, wherever it is. But because I got out of my comfort zone, and because I dare to try something different, to talk to different minds, to hear a different point of view, to see how things are done differently, and you can still be successful. Truly. I think that completely changed my mindset. So when I came back to Chile, I realized there is another path. I'm 100% certain, and I will work towards that.
It's amazing how travel can shape you as a person. Even from Quran, there is a saying actually that Allah wants you to travel around His world. And I heard this. It's kind of a proverb, a saying in a different language, Urdu, but I'll try to translate it. It actually means that the people who have reached the destiny are the ones who wanders, and the ones who are lost never left their house. So it's a very deep meaning. Even I moved a country, in my time, And when you get out of that comfort zone and you see amazing people around you, all you want to do is level up. It forces you. Like there's every day you will wake up to a goal. I actually recommended this to my younger sister as well. Like she should at least move a city and start something of her own. But that's amazing. So yeah, how did you cross path with cold emailing? Like how did it come to you? Like, oh, this is something good. I can do this.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, actually, it was one of my first jobs. What happened is that I had a career in sales at the very beginning, and I think everyone should do sales. Whatever you do, like, even if you're a doctor, you should learn how to sell.
Correct.
A lawyer, whatever it is, because if you master the art of selling yourself,
Right.
then you are not even selling anymore, because you subconsciously will be just very good at just having people trust you on your service. So yeah, I started with that in the sales industry. And it was kind of funny because that was 12 years ago, probably a bit more. And what happened is that, I had like a typical office job. We had very high goals, like usual. They wanted us to contact everyone manually, send one email
I know.
per person. And I was like, there must be another way, And this is connected again to getting out of the comfort zone, getting out of like the norm of the
Right.
standard. I can go back to like the roots where I travel, and that kind of generates the switch. You always want to find a way to make things better, more efficient.
Right.
But then I was like, there must be another way. So then I started researching, and I found mail merge. Mail merge, for those who remember, is like,
yeah.
and it's still valid. You take an Excel sheet, you put a list of contacts,
Correct.
first name, last name, maybe some, and then you can send hundreds of emails, with just a few clicks. Back in that day, from just a single Google account or Outlook account, you could send like 1,000, 2,000 emails per day
I
easily
know.
and land on the inbox every single time.
Right.
And it was kind of funny because, I was crushing my quota. And I did that for almost every role that I did, every sales role, or I also work in like kind of
What was the
recruitment.
product you were selling, or
I was selling like a service. So it was a company that provided like information services, also organized conferences.
Makes
So it was B2B, mainly high ticket. So, close, like basically like closing on autopilot, like just sending emails.
Right.
It was fantastic for me because it was low effort, high profits. And at the end of the day, I realized that there is another path towards scaling sales teams. So I ventured into this heavily. I started learning a lot how cold email works. And again, this was like more than 10 years ago. I started doing it like sort of like as a side hustle as well. So I started helping other people or other companies sending cold emails while I always kept my, my full-time job or my full-time role. That's where it all started. I've been like from the very beginning, like sending cold emails or like scaling outbound in general, and I've seen it all literally. I've seen almost every technique, every provider. Like I've seen giants falling. I've seen like small companies like coming from nowhere, like Instantly, for example. That
Correct.
actually, we just launched 3 years ago, and we're like now past 30,000 customers. So,
Speaking of Instantly, what's your story with Instantly? How did you join Instantly, or what was the reason of joining Instantly?
I use cold email to join Instantly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What's the story behind it?
So I was one of the first clients of Instantly, and I was using
With the lifetime deal?
Yeah, from the lifetime deal. Yeah, that's when I saw them. Basically, I was using other tools for my agency because I had an agency back then. It was a small agency, and I was having a lot of difficulties with scaling my outbound without breaking the bank. And I was always giving feedback to these other tools like, hey guys, you could improve your product if you do X, Y, Z. And they
Makes
will
sense.
never implement anything. They will never like make any changes. Like it's almost like I noticed a trend with all these outbound tools. It's a little bit like how you look at empires. Like an empire rises, lasts
Yeah.
a few hundred years, and then another empire comes. So it's the same with cold email tools.
Because
but
they become arrogant in a way.
they become arrogant. Yeah. So the
And
cycle
too much
is
pride takes on.
yeah. So the cycle is shorter. So it's
Correct.
like 2-3 years, and then you see a new tool, and most of them like they peak at like a certain amount of money and users, and it's like they get comfortable and they kind of stop innovating. So that's what happened. I was using 2 different tools, and I will give them feedback, and it's like they just I'm talking about like large teams. They will have like 100 people, but it's like they stop innovating. I don't know. So strange. So then Instantly launched. At the beginning, I had to say it was not like amazing at all. But what really got my attention was that the few suggestions I made were implemented like this. They were developing so quickly and with so much hunger to dominate this space that I realized, okay, this is different. Here, this is absolutely different. And the CTO himself will reply to my request to feedback involved in like the community and everywhere. And then I realized, okay, this is something with a lot of potential. So then I sent them a cold email. I set a call and the rest is history. Then I started being involved in the company from very early on. Before I sent them the cold email, and I think this is a valuable lesson for everyone, I was also sharing a lot of feedback without expecting anything back. So I was already creating a relationship or sending like a lead magnet or however you want to call it. And I was doing it without the intention of getting something or like profiting from Instantly or working for Instantly. I was generally doing it in order to build a relationship. And I do that with everyone. I think everyone should do it. Often I see people that tell me like, hey, how can I get a job, or how can I get an opportunity, or how can I partner up with someone? I usually tell them, try to deliver value.
100%.
Think of how can you deliver value to this person? What makes you stand out? And you don't really need to be like Elon Musk, like type of smart.
100%.
If you're 1% different than others, like if you're applying, let's say for a job, right? Like you're like part of a process, like trying to apply, and then there are hundreds of other applicants.
Correct.
All you need to do is literally, rather than just send your CV and just pray and just hope for the best, just make a business strategy. How will in the first 90 days, how will you make a change in that company? What ideas do you have? Then in the next year, just bring ideas, make a business plan, even if it makes no sense. And then don't just send it to the recruiter. Find the email of the CEO, of the person that's going to be your manager, send it to all of them, send a Loom video, just go a bit, above and beyond. You don't have to do something crazy, but just a little bit above and beyond. So that applies in general for everything, and at least it worked for me.
Yep, this is one strategy which I recommend to a lot of people, who are seeking jobs. And, because I live in Dubai, I get hundreds of messages like, is anyone hiring? Are you hiring? So many things. But I've recommended to a lot of people, like, just make a list of 20 companies, find out what problems you can solve at that company, and just email everyone at that company, the CEO, the VPs, the manager, and you will get listed. You would be seen as someone valuable. So, yeah, I feel like if in general, in life, if you give, you receive more than what you are giving. And it happened to me as well personally. I had a startup around 2016, and after running it for a year, it was good. I parted ways because things didn't align with the co-founder. And during that transition phase, I had sent an email to one of our client that, hey, I would no longer be this, and this person would be responsible to take over. So after a couple of days, the CEO, the founder, contacted me and asked me like, what's your vision like now for the next few years? And that ended up me being in a California-based startup, which I could never imagine at that time. And I was one of the core members, working alongside some of the top minds, I would say, such as VP of Intel, VP of Citibank. So yeah, it's amazing. Nice. And because I've worked in a startup, I know that your role is not really defined. You wear many hats at your job, especially at your level. What were like the initial challenges you faced as a person? Because Instantly is pretty new. You have some competitors outside who have been dominating the market for a decade literally, and then you step in, and now Instantly, I think it's the first choice for a lot of cold email marketers out there. So, to make that happen, I'm sure there would be a couple of challenges. So I want the audience to know, like, how do you overcome challenges in general?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. First of all, we use a method that I think also Google uses, which is just try quickly. A lot of people start overthinking things too much. And the truth is that you don't know if something is going to stick or work until you don't try. This is also advice in general for people, not just like business-wise, but I think it's just in every aspect of life. Just try.
Just jump in the water.
Just jump in. Try. And then based on that, you analyze, you step back a little bit. And then based on that, you try once again if that didn't work, or you make improvements regarding to what you did. So I think that's like a good motto for us as a company. What makes us a little bit different. Also, personally, I'm also the same, which is why I tried Instantly in the first place, even I had these other tools. And I will say some of the challenges is that when you're trying to innovate, you really don't know what's going to work because there's no like a clear path, right? You're innovating, and at Instantly, we wanted to change the cold email space, because the cold email space before we joined was you're going to pay per inbox, right?
Correct. And it was very high, like $20, $30
Oh,
for,
yeah, it was
and
crazy.
even I know some tools which are crazier, but yeah, it was very expensive.
It was very expensive, and still that is still the trend in the space, unbelievably. So there is still plenty of room to grow for us. But yeah, there are still tools that will charge you hundreds of dollars per day for just sending a few emails, especially in the corporate space. There are still
Right.
like two dominant players, maybe three, that they charge per license, and then it's like one email account per license, which is insane, like if you think about it.
Right.
And the reason why it's insane is because in order to scale your sending, you do need to buy multiple email accounts. You need to have multiple domains.
Correct.
So if you have to pay hundreds of dollars in order to like have multiple, then it just doesn't make sense. The ROI is not there. At the end of the day, what people want to see is that, okay, I'm going to send this many emails. How much money is this gonna make me? So if the investment you have to make in order to make those leads is just higher, it just makes no sense. The math is not mathing.
Yeah.
One of the early challenges we had was like, okay, we disrupted the space, right? So how do we sustain this? Because again, when you keep innovating, once again, you keep just trying things without knowing what's going to stick. And there are so many things you can try. I think one issue that a lot of people have is their customers will ask for a lot of things, but what do we build based on the things that customers are asking? And some people can be very pushy, and they want that specific feature for themselves. But one suggestion I have for anyone building anything is try to build things that people are willing to pay for. Many times someone will make like a waiting list, let's say 200 users like that sign up for your product or whatever it is, or they all voted like a certain feature, whatever it is, like you have like 10, 100, 500 people asking for something. That doesn't mean they're going to pay for it. In order to scale, unfortunately, you need to be profitable. So that's when your instinct and your gut feeling comes in. And you need to start looking at things on a macro picture. Okay, is this aligned with what we do as a company? Is this feature going to help us keep scaling or be profitable? That doesn't have to be all the time, though. Like you can definitely
True.
build things on your product, on your service, on your company, necessarily going to make you profitable, that you could build things that could help you position yourself better as a brand. But I will say that's like the 80-20 rule. I would say like 80% of your features have to come mixed with your instinct, and not just like because the community asked for them, but because you strongly believe that this could be aligned with growing the company, being more profitable. And at the end of the day, if you're more profitable as a company, you will reinvest those. That's what we do, at least. We reinvest a lot of those profits into hiring more people, into better branding, into a better product. Of course, that's like the number one thing, by the way. So yeah, that was I would say that was the some of the first challenges, like just organizing ourselves in all this chaos, and it's still a problem. Like
I know. It's an ongoing problem.
Yeah.
I read this somewhere, like to beat your competitors, the price is one thing which is clear cut, but the other way is to make yourself so big that they don't even think of someone else. And I think instantly, like you said, I truly believe the people are really amazing in the overall team, and they really listen to people. Even in the forum, I see a lot of people requesting, and even the top guys, the board members, respond to them saying like, hey, it's in process. And it actually comes out pretty much very fast. And I've also noticed one that instantly does not really brag about a lot of things which you give out for free. And then there are competitors, like what surprised me is like someone would say, hey, I'm launching this feature and it's very exclusive. You got to pay a premium. And not many people are aware that Instantly is already doing that for free, especially in terms of deliverability and overall how you handle the email. So how do you, handle these kind of scenarios where your competitors are just cropping up every single day? Like we have 20 different email automation softwares right now. So what kind of mindset do you have, or what is your strategy about these scenarios?
The motto that we have is to always be humble and like underdogs, and I think we will keep sticking to that because people at the end of the day, they will see through things, and they will realize that when someone is not trying to hard pitch you something, is because they mean good, or they're genuine, or what we're trying to embrace here. We're not trying to hard sell our product
Yeah.
or any of our features to people.
That actually is very much visible because I've spent a lot of time in cold emailing and I've worked with a lot of automation tools, agencies. I can name very who literally gave out study material for free. And instantly, if anyone, it could be a high school kid trying to start an agency or someone who is an established CMO willing to start cold email, you can get all the value from Instantly Accelerator program.
Yeah, exactly.
And that kind of sets you apart from the overall competition in a way.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll say that the one thing we really embrace is people will only stay in our product and in generally like in your product and service once they get results, right?
Right.
It makes no sense for us to just hard pitch something to someone, results first. And that comes from giving free materials, educating them, giving them free features that are built, right?
Right.
And then, yeah, what you see in the market today is people will just start charging for like random features or start hyping
Correct.
up like random things that actually make no difference in like they get very technical with certain features like, oh, we just launched this, and at the end of the day on a practical, like if you look at the metrics, it makes no difference, right? So it's just hyping up, you know. What I'm trying to say is that the industry can turn into some sort of like meme coin type of place where people are just hyping up random things, and we just keep focus on things that will improve the reply rates and will help people get more leads and more sales. That's at the end of the day what people are paying us for. So yeah, that's literally what we do, and we believe that if people are going to get more sales, they will spend more money or recommend us to their friends. That is straightforward.
100%. That is true. As long as people are getting value out of your product or service, it is very easy to retain the business. As well as I can say this, in the last 18 months, we didn't do a single email campaign or any kind of outreach for one of our product or service. Currently, we have over 1,500 customers on that product. So people referring us to other people because they find the value. And that is one reason because of which, like we have been able to think of growing business as per customers require. So your business is overall built by the customer. It's a very, like, I happen to communicate directly with my customer, and so anyone who joins our company as a client, I'm always part of that group, and whatever their concerns are, I'm happy to speak with all the, and it helps me also shape the business, which I think Instantly also does very well. You are pretty much open to all the questions. You have your board members answering questions. So yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, now that you have made it so far in Instantly, I think what are the next steps? People increase their reply rates or increase their deliverability, or I would say increase their growth, or boost their growth, or maybe increase their ROI on marketing, cold marketing.
Yeah, that's a great question. So then one thing we notice when people send cold emails, especially when they're just starting out, is that their product and who to sell it. And that is an early problem, right? Because it doesn't matter if you use paid ads, it doesn't matter the channel you use and how much money you have in order to invest into generating leads. If you don't know, then you're in big trouble. But the good news is that AI can really help us there. In 2025 specifically, we are going to focus more on uncover those, like that message, basically. And I like to summarize it as, let's say, if someone wants to hang a frame on the wall, right? They're like, I'm an SEO agency. No one cares if you're an SEO agency. They want the hole on the wall and then the nail so they can hang the frame.
100%.
And they want it as simple as possible, as easy as possible, right? So if you can manage to frame your product or service in such a way, you are on a good path to success. And then you also need to target the right people. So we now have a lot of data, right? And when we don't just send emails, you can find emails in our database. So we are combining the capability of sending emails, but also from our email database. And we are going to use AI. I don't want to share too much yet, but this is like a glimpse of what's coming up. Very few questions. We'll be able to tell you, okay, this is your target audience. This is how you should pitch your product. Click and launch. Easy and simple, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah. And last year, I think the big change we made in the industry, and this is like from constantly innovating, was that we completely eliminated the technical setup for creating email accounts and everything. I mean, built into a platform, of course, because then there are other people that they provide email accounts that are fantastic. And they do it for you completely, hands off. We still recommend them, by the way. because they're pretty good at what they do, and also they can do it at scale, especially for agencies. If you need like 1,000 email accounts, it might be potentially better to work with someone like that, because you need like a bit more of like a custom experience. But I would say, like, for someone who needs like 10 email accounts, 20 email accounts, and they want to do it themselves, self-onboarding,
Right.
like instantly it's like click, 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 buy the email accounts, done, right? Yeah, I will say that that's going to be the big change. And we are anticipating also something that is coming in the industry that will make a big shift in call outbound. And we are already seeing it already. So Apple, and then you have another app called Superhuman. They now summarize your emails, right?
Right.
So when you receive an email, now it doesn't just say, like, you basically see a summary from every email, because we all get so much noise today that you're not competing with other cold emailers. You are competing against Netflix. You're competing against Instagram. Almost every company today, they want your attention because they will profit from that. They will either sell your data or they will sell your time via ads. So you're competing against everyone's product that is trying to get users' attention. Basically, the emailing platforms, they're summarizing your messages, and it's happening today. I think it's gonna spread even further with AI, and also because probably the amount of noise is gonna increase. So what's going to be more important now is exactly what I told you: selling the right product to the right person. Because then if they see a summary, and that summary, like, let's say I get an email right now, and that summary says, I don't know, like, business opportunity XYZ in Dubai. Well, I'm right now in Dubai, so it makes perfect sense. It's the perfect time, and I actually need a business opportunity in this niche, in this industry. So let's go, right? But if you start pitching me a product or a service that I don't need right now, or that I'm not the right target, I will get a summary. James wants to sell you, I don't know, like diabetes pills, like whatever, know, and then I'll be like, this is not for me, right? So delete, and that's the magic behind it. I think it's gonna be a good thing, because it's just going to either eliminate or make people improve their game, their messaging, right? A lot of people, they just take a list and they just blast it out, and then they get no results and they complain. So yeah.
Amazing. I'm 100% in line with you. I feel spending more time on finding the right target audience and a right offer, it's your 80%. That's your 80%. The rest 20% can be handled through automations and everything. So yeah, now that Instantly is building an automation to such a level where it's easy for anyone to implement cold emailing with a click of couple of buttons, what skill set should an agency adapt to be in business and grow? There are thousands of cold emailing agencies which take care of cold email marketing for a lot of companies, because the companies don't really want to push the buttons. They just want the end results. So what skill set, or I would say what mindset, would help the agencies grow?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. And I think we go back once again to innovation that happens to agencies themselves with their clients. So we often have clients at Instantly that used to work with an agency before. A lot of them, I wouldn't say like, the large majority, but like a fair amount of those companies, after working, like, they work with an agency, they take like the copy and the setup and everything, they cancel the contract with the agency, and they think that they can just reuse that for eternity and get results. Correct. But then what happens is that after like a few months, the results start dropping. So then they come at us and they ask us, what's going on? Why are my results, my reply rates dipping? We tell them, well, do you check this and this and this and that? And because they're absolutely new to cold email, like, they don't understand what we're talking about, right? It's not like cold email is complicated, but you still, like anything in life, you need to like have some basic understanding on how this works, right? So I will say that just like for the client of an agency, things can start dipping if they stop innovating. As an agency, you need to always be testing new things, innovating. Things are changing all the time. So every year, something is changing in our industry. I've seen it for the past 10 years. Usually when a big change happens, like for example, let's say Google or Outlook, let's say blocking like the warm-up pools, like some providers, they went down the drain because Google blocked the warm-up pools and everything. Right. Ours still works perfectly fine, no issues, but because we innovated as a company and like found ways to just keep being competitive. So my recommendation to agencies, as cliche as it might sound, is don't get too comfortable. Keep testing new things. Like, we are definitely looking at eliminating the technical component behind it, but there is definitely a human component that will still be essential. And that human component is related to, am I working with the right offer, the right clients? Are we positioning this offer correctly? Because even if you have an AI that makes the copy for you and makes like everything for you,
Right.
brainstorm with your client or think, how do we position this brand better? How, like, are we offering the right deal? Like, let's say in your call to action, you're offering something for free. Is this really something people want? Like right now, to me, for example, if you offer me something for free, I'll probably not take it. Because
Right.
today, what I value the most is my time. So I know that that free thing that you're giving me will come in exchange for my time. So if I'm going to invest my time into something or someone, it's because I see positive ROI behind it. So that's why agencies still need to test different angles. The most successful agencies we see, they're always testing new copies, testing new things, new
Correct.
angles. And also, I will recommend to people connect with other like-minded individuals. And we go back again to the basic advice that at least I follow, which is like surround yourself with people that add value to your life,
Right.
and also like always be innovating and stuff. So it's the same thing. Surround yourself with other like-minded agency owners or businesses or whatever, or try to tap into different niches right now. Let's say now the technical component is done, you have more free time. So what do we do now? You have more free time. Scale operationally as a company. How do I become more efficient?
Makes sense.
Or maybe you can venture more into the business development side and start like going into conferences, into events. So at the end of the day, what this whole revolution, so to say, in outbound is not to just like completely eliminate the human factor behind it. I think it's the opposite. It will help you channel your energy and your time into something else that will 2 or 3x your efforts. So
That totally makes sense. As a business owner, I can say every day is, I think, 50% unpredictable.
yeah,
You can wake up to any news every single morning, and you need to build up an experience where you are able to deal with unknowns, uncertains, and always explore new strategies, new tools, anything that helps you grow and provide a better service to your customers. And as long as you are providing a better service to the customer will always stick around. And it also, like you said, if it's free for them, it's going to take their time. So you need to really appreciate someone's time. Even though you're offering something for free, it's technically never free. So yeah, we have to watch these steps. And so there are a lot of people who might be starting out a cold email agency. So how would you recommend, or do you have any qualifiers to say like, oh, this is a good niche where I can sell cold emailing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I get this question all the time. And my short answer is that's the beauty of cold email. You can literally just contact a bunch of people in one go and very easily disqualify things. Don't go for like what everyone is like going after, like e-commerce, SaaS. I mean, you still
Correct.
can, but you need to rephrase it into a way where you stand out. If you venture into a niche where everyone is doing the same, like don't just copy and paste like a template or like like that's when you do not get results. When you literally copy that someone else did. Otherwise, everyone will be rich right now.
Correct.
Another thing that we are seeing like really high reply rates with is targeting markets that are unexplored. Right now, everyone is doing cold email in English-speaking markets, and obviously there's still plenty of room to grow. It's not like it's absolutely saturated, but we are seeing like way better responses when you target other markets, like let's say the Spanish-speaking world or the Arabic world, or like like people targeting Poland. So if you target other niches or even China, China's massive. Although in China, like they don't use email. For people that
Correct.
don't know, like in China, they use a WeChat in China, and you offer them lead generation services to connect with companies in the West, right? With a really good offer. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. If you're an agency,
Right.
you first want to capture clients, right? So maybe you could capture clients in China and pitch them, hey, I understand the Western culture. Think out of the box in that aspect. That would be my recommendation. Again, test new things. And don't be afraid to just move on, right? Like, let's say you tried that niche, you try contacting those people.
Correct.
Just go after people that have a need. So who are people with need? For example, let's say, and I've seen this myself. Okay, so let's say a VC fund or an investor, private equity, whatever it is, they usually own a portfolio of
Right.
like 20. I get emails pretty often from investors that are asking me for recommendations or advice on how, improve their outbound strategies for their portfolio companies. And, then I just put them in touch with someone else. And then I realized, like, if someone, was to close a relationship with just one of these investors, they immediately captured that entire portfolio. Pitch venture capital, like people, and just tell them, hey, I will do lead generation for free to show you how good I am. And if you see results, maybe then we can talk through all your portfolio companies, right?
I know I am 100% with you because we have a lot of customers for whom we do cold emailing still. We're not onboarding new, but we are still maintaining a pool of couple of people. In that pool of people, we have a candy shop for whom we run cold emailing. It is a surprise to a lot of people, but we created an offer where they now sell candies, branded candies to the corporates in California. And it's a new market, which no cold email guy thought of. And it came to us. And similarly, there are a lot of things. Even in Dubai, people feel like, oh, it's an Arabic country. They might not be speaking English, but you can literally get around the city speaking English or even Hindi for that matter. Yeah, so everyone speaks the language here. And I have seen English has kind of become a global language across the markets. So yes, if you target the Spanish market in Spanish, definitely works out. And they are always doing that. So yeah, even though they may not speak English, but your offer is so strong, you would be able to convert them into a client. Yeah. So yeah, that's an amazing thing. Yeah. And another thing I have a question is, when do you think one should stop testing? You can't just keep on experimenting with, after you have reached out to 10,000 companies, 20,000 companies, the messaging does not work, the target does not work. So what is a good number?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say it depends on your market size. And obviously you can easily check the market size on Sales Navigator and like any database. You can obviously test like up to 10,000 if you're doing like a fraction of the total addressable market. Mm-hmm. If not, like obviously you need to use a smaller market, sample size, right? And then you don't need to test the entire market in order to discard. Like you can just take a batch, like a sample, let's say a few thousand people. And it's the same with copy. Like if you're testing different copies, like I usually tell people, you don't need to send like 2,000 emails on one copy in order to like discard it. Like you can just send, a few hundred emails for that variant, and then just move on and make another version just to test which one is the best performing one. So yeah, I would say like you don't need to go after the entire market. Just do like a fraction of the addressable market. Usually my rule is like 5,000 max. Like if after contacting 5,000 people in a certain niche or industry, you're not seeing results, like it's time to move on because but at the same time also some people might be targeting the wrong person in that niche or industry. Correct. So that is something worth exploring as well. Like for example, I even done this test myself. I like sending campaigns myself as well because I like to practice what I preach. I send campaigns for friends or like random people. Mm-hmm. Like I hope that after saying this I don't get like too many DMs. But like sometimes I get people that like I find their story pretty moving and I will do it for free.
Makes sense.
To help them a little bit with their cold outbound efforts, and they know who they are. I'm not gonna give names, and he offers English lessons, right, to companies in he's in Europe. So
non-English.
Yeah, he's like English lessons. He's like based in Europe, right? I told him, let me help you. I managed to get him like 20 meetings with like companies, with like big companies. Mm-hmm. So he was pretty happy. And as part of the experiment, so I asked him, so who is your target audience? Like who is your ideal client? Like if we were to target companies, because he does English lessons, but on a corporate level, right? So if he gets one company, that means like a bunch of students.
Correct.
Right? So good ROI there. It's not just like 101. I mean, he also does 101, but that's the market he wants to tap into to be more profitable. Sure, on like who to target. He was like, well, usually the HR people are the ones who are the most involved, but I will also expect the CEO and the founders.
Correct.
So I was a bit like, okay, let's test it out. So I split the campaign into HR managers and CEOs. And the HR managers were 5 times more likely to reply positively. So it was far, far better performing. So imagine, the reason why I mentioned this is, imagine someone is testing their niche. And they nailed, but then they just contact the wrong person, in this case the CEO, and they don't get results, and they are like, well, this doesn't work, I'm gonna move on next. But if they just made that small switch, small adjustment, well, I'm gonna actually contact the HR managers, and they all of a sudden like boom, where like some small adjustments can make a difference. So don't just discard
Definitely.
it entirely. Sometimes
Totally makes sense. Now we are talking about the copy itself. Now copy, we all know it can either make it or break it. Your email may reach the inbox, but if it's a generic copy, it's not personalized email, you may never get any response. So in today's time when we have so many tools out there, find out information about any prospect and use that information in context to your proposal. How do you think it will play out this year in 2025 specifically, where there are a lot of people using AI and there are people who are not using AI, but they do the research well on the market? What's your take? Like, should everyone go for the AI copywriting, or should they to the traditional ways of identifying problems and giving out solutions?
Yeah, I will say that personalization using AI, it definitely helps. I actually made a LinkedIn post about it, and it went viral. I go like,
Who actually resonate with that problem? That's the reason it went viral.
yeah, I know. Why I shared that post on LinkedIn was because I got an email. Someone used personalization, and they saw the city I'm in, and then they mentioned if I take the bus line in that city. And the opening line and the subject line were pretty much related to that bus. And then if I struggle waiting for the bus, and then they pitch the service. So it's completely misaligned with, it's kind of like let's say like we are right now talking, and I just tell you, hey Moin, I saw you eating shawarma. Would you like to buy lead generation services? It's kind of like absolutely misaligned, like it's
Yes.
like such like it looks very it doesn't look natural. So
Correct.
Personalization helps, but what really makes a difference is relevance. So if you are very relevant in your AI personalization, for sure you will get like higher chance of success. So some personalization I recommend to people are, and you can today you do this with AI, like even with ChatGPT, like you don't need to be like
Correct.
super technical about it. Use this prompt. So you tell it, I want you to read from this list of contacts, right? And you import the list, right, to ChatGPT. So this is, you scrape the company description, or you scrape what this person does, whatever it is, right? You feed data into the model, and then you tell ChatGPT, this is what my company does. A, B, C, and D, we do this and this and that. What moves the needle for this person, right? And the more information you feed into the model, the better it will be. Because the metrics that make a difference for a sales director are completely different to the metrics from an HR manager or like marketing director.
100%.
Right? So if you're pitching, for example, I'm going to generate 10 book meetings, and then you're sending that to, let's say, even the sales director will be like, yeah, I don't care. I care about something else. So the way I put it to people is, if you are pitching, for example, to, let's say, someone in New York, I will save you this much money because of the hours your team will save. Because I know your team, like you have, let's say, 5 sales people in your team that is costing you like $500,000 a year, or $1 million a year. I will save you $500,000 a year worth of time. I will just reduce their research time, so they can focus on booking more meetings and making you more revenue, right? So some business people use, and when you use AI, you can use AI to align that persona, industry, what that company does, use the same sort of language in order to align it. So that is the way you do it. And if you do it that way, you are like on a good path to success. But unfortunately, I would say the large majority of people are sending emails like the one I received like from that post. And I think it went viral because people are kind of getting a bit fed up with it. So yeah.
Would you say that was the worst kind of an email you received,
No,
or you have seen something?
No, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst. And obviously, I censored that person's name and everything.
Do you have a memory of any funny email you received from a cold outreach campaign?
Yeah, actually, I do. So I received once, it was a weird cold email. I receive cold emails from competitors sometimes. And so I know that. Yeah, even today, actually, even like 2 days ago, I got like a cold email from like their marketing department talking about partnering up, and we're like direct competitors. And I think he was like looking for SEO backlinks, like when you exchange links. So he probably just took a list of like SaaS companies and just blast them all, right? So yeah, always cleanse your data, of course, because you also don't want your competitors to know what you're
Correct.
doing. I once also got a cold email. Well, I actually get it all. I mean, not all the time, but I get it often. Someone pitching their service or their product, and then mentioning Instantly, and they're like, "We are better than Instantly," and then I'm like, "Dude, you're literally just like, but probably." I don't know. Like they scraped my email from somewhere else. Who knows?
I know. It happens
The
a
other
lot.
one, like that was funny, was and this landed on my inbox. Actually, I don't know why. A job like was blasting. Like it was like a recruiting firm, and they sent a cold email offering me like a job as a lawyer, like for $1 million. And it was a legit email. Like I like even checked like if the job posting existed. It wasn't a scam. I don't know like how did they think I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know why would they
True.
offer me that. So I say all in all, like all those funny call emails are just like the biggest mistake people make is
Common mistakes which one should avoid.
yeah, they just don't clean their databases well. They don't target the right people, or they just think that it's just clicking two buttons and sending an email like
True.
AI will take care of the rest. It's not as simple as that. You still need to put a little bit of thought into it. So
Makes sense. You mentioned that one of the email reached the inbox. Now I'm sure Instantly is being used by a lot of customers.
yeah.
Millions of emails are being sent every single day through Instantly. What is the pattern you see? Like, Google to Microsoft, Microsoft to Microsoft. And what is your take on SMTP servers or private servers which are being used by people?
Yeah.
And what you would recommend for someone who is just starting out?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would like to start with Google and Outlook are kings. Like they dominate the market. Some of them are really good. Like there are some providers that I speak to personally. But I will say the large majority of them, like they don't understand the deliverability component very well. They just like mount like a server, like an email server, and think that they can blast people like very easily like that. That's not how it works. You will burn your domains, very easily. So I will say the amount of private email infrastructure providers that are actually good, but unfortunately there are so many because it kind of became trendy now.
I know.
That it's just difficult, to find the good ones. So overall, I will say diversify your infrastructure, right? And always make sure you have Google accounts, Outlook accounts, and if you want to like sparkle it with something different, then private email infrastructure providers as well. But I wouldn't entirely rely on one thing. Like let's say all in private email infrastructure, I'll say that's like super risky. And I know people they're like, oh, but like Google is like I don't know, $3, $4, $5 per account. I can get this primary email server for like $1 or $2 per account. And I'm like, yeah, well, go ahead, but don't complain like 2 or 3 months later after you burn all of your accounts and domains. So sometimes you need to pay a little bit extra, or mix it with something else. I see it like from time to time. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we repeat this all the time, but like we keep seeing the same issue, so we might have to repeat it. Like keep consistently repeat it to people, but just stick to the basics. Like it's literally just like when you see Ronaldo or like a really good athlete playing, like they just stick to the basics.
Correct.
They work hard, they sleep, they eat very healthy, and that's their basis. They just make sure that they're consistent and disciplined. So the basis in cold email, basically don't send too many emails per email account. Some people, they are like 50, 100, 200 per email account. And then they're like, oh, this didn't work. And then you check their sending volume. Well, man, you're sending 50 emails per email account, like 100,
Yep.
You're not supposed to do that. That's how it works. The second thing is validate your list. A lot of people, they are like, I'm using the cheapest email verifier out there, and then they complain because they don't get results. And then, it's like, once we revalidate their list, we find that 10% bounce rate could have been prevented, and that's like burning. That like burns everything else. It's like the
Correct.
base in your house of cards, and then the whole house of cards is falling. Well, it's because your base is just not solid enough. So validate your list. Use a good email verifier. You have plenty of tools out there, but don't go for the cheapest. Like the cheapest is not necessarily
Always the best.
Yeah, it's not always the best. There are exceptions, but then also, use a good sending tool, right? Like a good warm-up provider, of course.
Yeah, there is a lot of debate on the internet like, oh, this is too good, that is good. I always say to people, like, it's not a rocket science, something that which is out of your reach, out of your computing capacity. You can always experiment and find the truth for yourself. Personally, I have my own reasons to like Instantly and recommend it to others, especially because of the warm up pool. Pretty much, I say this always. If you warm up with Instantly, you're pretty much warming up with all the ASPs, ISPs in different regions. You guys have one of the biggest warm up pool. But other than that, what like forget about if you had to choose a warm up tool or let's say a cold automation platform, what are the qualities or features you would look at?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I will look at a platform that always cleans their warm-up pool. Like maintaining a warm-up pool is actually very difficult. It involves a lot of resources. And for those who don't know, a warm-up pool is, well, as you know, it's basically a place where you and I and everyone connects their, they basically connect their email accounts and then they engage, with one another, and then that generates just better positive signals, right? So I will look into a warm-up pool where the provider really tries hard to keep it clean. So how do we do that? We remove any email accounts that are bouncing from the warm-up pool, like almost instantly. We don't allow every single provider into the warm-up pool. So we actually have blacklisted a lot of email infrastructure providers that don't match the criteria. If you bring Google and Outlook accounts, they'll be absolutely fine, of course, because they are the ones who set the rules here in the in this game. I that would be like the basics, right? And that also has like a decent size, right? Like has a few hundred thousands. I think ours is like getting close to 3 million by now accounts in the warm-up pool. So I think we have the largest, if not like top 3 for sure. And and that just generally you see efforts, in order to just keep it clean and everything. The other thing is that the messaging in the warm-up pool, looks very natural. That the idea is that the warm-up pool also sends like good positive signals. Because I've seen some other warm-up pools that the messaging, the AI generated message looks like really bad. Like it looks, and in our warm-up pool, it looks very like we work very hard to make it look very natural and human-like. And I remember instantly at the very beginning, the AI message was horrible. It was like it was very obvious that it was. So the other thing in terms of sending is basically generating a human-like behavior. If that sending platform allows you to, even if it doesn't allow you to do it, but that the patterns look like a human. So what does a human do? A human usually cannot send more than, say, 50 emails per day. A human does not send an email every 0.1 seconds.
Right? Correct.
A human, does not put like heavy links or heavy images on every single
or same copy to hundreds of people.
Or same copy, exactly. If a sender tool allows you to like somehow mimic like what a human does through like all of their features, then you're choosing the right platform. So that is the mindset you need to have.
Yeah, that's a good answer to the question. And I wanted to know, like, with the overall policies of Google and Microsoft, they are becoming strict. Now, this is my perspective. Imagine like I'm the security guy responsible for millions. I want to make sure like they are not getting spammed or getting malicious links or anything as such. So I will definitely keep on implementing policies.
Right.
And as soon as, there is a little bit of disruption, the change in policy, people cannot reach inbox, everyone starts saying cold emailing is dead.
Yeah.
So what would you say to those people, or what do you think is the future of cold emailing? Let's say at least like 5 years.
Yeah. I love it when people tell me cold email is dead. Like when I see it somewhere. But I think at this point, like when people use cold email is dead, it's more like a hook in order to get like more impressions on their posts on LinkedIn or stuff like that. I don't think I think like a very small minority of people like really embrace that. But actually the more people, embrace that is the better for us, because less competitors, so
Correct.
More room for growth. Every single year I hear cold email is dead. That there hasn't been a single year where I haven't heard cold email is dead. I think what's dead is people not willing to adapt to changes. Yeah.
And we also did like crazy things. Like we used to subscribe to a lot of newsletters.
Yeah.
To show.
Yeah, that's very smart.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, things are always changing, but that is with everything in life.
Correct.
If you running paid ads 5 or 10 years ago, it was like crazy. Like you could like for very little money get great ROI. today, in order to like get profitable ads, it's way more work. It's more difficult. So it's just like everything in life, you know. Same with social, you know, posting on certain platforms. Like some years ago, like you could like put anything and it would like go viral. Today, that's more difficult, you know. So everything at the end of the day gets a little bit more competitive as time goes by. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you should always calculate the ROI of, okay, I'm investing this much money. Like the best cold emailers, they do this. I'm investing this much money in my email accounts, in my you know, like in the whole setup right now that I have, data, whatever it is, I'm able to get this many sales or this many meetings that generate this much money for me. Is the ROI there, right? How much am I generating per email sent? So do I need to scale my sending further? Are these enough emails? So yeah, that's like a great base for people to have.
Yeah. One thing I will add here, that it's connected to healthcare, it's connected to education. There is no other technology right now, or at least in the near future, which can replace these email as a channel for communication. And as long as you are being compliant with the kinks, cold emailing will always be the most effective and the cheapest way to create awareness about your brand, perform research, you know, in new target markets, and get leads, of course.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Actually, that's like number of people that have emails, everyone, because you need an email, like to function,
For
you need an
everything.
email account for everything. Every job you have, they will create you an email account.
Correct.
So emails are like part of us. You know, we all have an email chat. You know,
Right.
I don't use TikTok. Literally Facebook for because of work. Instagram like with my close group of friends and family, because I like to, you know, keep, I'm a family man, so I like to keep, and that's about it, you know. I in general, like I don't have this need to validate myself with others as well, so I don't have, I will send them like to you or to friends, like pictures and videos personally, like on WhatsApp, but yeah, in general, like I'm just focused on building. So overall, I will say that when you're sending cold emails, don't look at it as the ultimate results. Like a lot that would be like a wrong perception to have, and I'll be very biased if I will say that cold email is like the ultimate channel. It's not. And what we have seen working from like the most successful partners that we have is that they combine cold email with other channels. So what they do is, I will send a cold email campaign, and then I will retarget those people who visit my website, because now because I have their data, or you know, they will go visit my website and I have a retargeting pixel, and then I will show them paid ads, which will be much cheaper than just starting
100%.
from ads, because the ad platforms, they charge you for finding the people, right? But you already are sending the people, so you just want to retarget them, so that will be much cheaper. And then on top of it, let's say you have like a newsletter to capture people, or you can identify people who visit your website, and then you can send them a separate email. Hey, I saw you visit our website. Here is something for free, or will you like to schedule a call, whatever it is, right? So it's a whole funnel, you know, of like that basically remind people that you exist, or sometimes even like send them a LinkedIn message or request, or like so that they start seeing your content. So again, we go back to the premise of when you are sending emails or doing marketing, you're not fighting only against other cold emailers. You're fighting against Netflix, Instagram, everyone out there that want your audience attention. So your job here is to remind them consistently that you exist and they should buy from you. And you do that by either sending a bunch of follow-ups or just connecting your cold email.
100%. I have seen cold email, they play a very crucial role in the overall sales sequence. Again, it's cheaper to implement cold email compared to going with ads directly. You know, engage with the prospects on different levels.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good thing. It seems like you know a lot. You read a lot of books?
I mean, I do read a fair amount. I never finish books.
Yeah, so you seem to know a lot. Like, how do you educate yourself? Do you read books? Do you read videos, or it's from your personal experiences?
Yeah, I just stay open. So I listen to other people, you know, like yourself. I'm always talking to people in the industry. Let's say they want to start like learning about sales or lead generation. I always recommend them like a really old book from HubSpot called The Sales Acceleration Formula. It's like literally the base for like sales and everything. If they are like more on the advanced level, or like they want to read something interesting, there is one book called Hooked from Nir Eyal, where he talks about how to create products that become a habit for you. So it can be also a service. You can create a product or a service that is a habit for your users. So if you master the art of selling and also the art of creating something that people depend on, or that
Retention.
you retain them. So that's like another very fundamental piece of having a profitable business. A lot of people, they focus on selling, but actually it is much cheaper or more expensive. Actually, it's more expensive to always seek new clients than maintain or and upsell the ones that you currently have. So yeah, I'm always like, trying to read. The issue I have with books is that I never finish them. So it's like speed run them a little bit because I'm just always short on time, and I feel there is so much you can read and do that I'm always like.
I have a totally opposite way
Yeah.
of consuming content. Now, for example, when you recommend me a book and go through the summary through a video
Nice.
or something like that, an audiobook, and if something resonates with me, something clicks with me, yeah, even I'm bad at finishing books. I have a lot of books, but I'm not able to finish them, especially because of the schedule we have as business owners.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your schedule also would not be that easy. So how do you generally spend your day?
Usually my wife, she's listening. She's the one. She's actually not very happy with it, but I actually work from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. And if I'm not working, I'm thinking about work. But my issue is that I really enjoy it. So when you find something you enjoy and you love, it doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like you're just like flowing through things. But the issue is that I'm also missing out on a lot of things in life. So I have a daughter, like a 3-year-old daughter, and I try to think as often as possible on how can I spend more time with her, because I'm a family man and also with my wife, so it's a beautiful process. So thankfully I have my wife who is like totally the opposite. He like doesn't care about business. She actually will respect someone because of their faith, their life experiences, things like that. You're like, you told them about Islam, you talked to them about like trips you did. She will like listen with full attention and be like, this is
Correct.
very interesting. But then you talk to her about business and then her attention is gone. Like this, The
True.
moment I start talking about like,
She has more talents than you,
Oh,
which you
100%.
also agree with.
100%.
And yeah, she's amazing as a human being. Like,
I often tell these two
Yeah.
people that my wife is smarter than me, and I'm very proud.
I also totally feel the same. So my energy is more of go-getting, and in
Yeah.
that endeavor, we are always in the attack mode. We hardly defend or think of defending. But our wife, they play a crucial role
Yeah.
on bringing us at a calm, at a pace, and then letting us reevaluate and reflect on the situation from a distance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she also does that for you.
Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely. I honestly, I think majority of my success is because of my wife, because she brings me the emotional stability.
Amazing.
I just feel in peace. I feel at ease. We can talk about anything together.
100%,
She will
yeah.
give me her honest perspective and opinion that is completely
That
different.
that
to the way
is
I-
the best part. So in my personal life as well, there are very few people who can point out wrong things I do.
Yeah.
I'm talking about friends and family, and most of the time they will just say yes. So for example, I recently, we went to the market and I was buying a kandura for my brother, and he asked me which ones looks good, and he showed me the two, and I said the blue one looks good. I was not paying attention. And he got that one, but it wasn't a blue kandura. It was a green kandura. And then now he's showing it to my wife, and he's like, look, I got this blue kandura. And my wife is like, that's a green kandura. You didn't get the blue kandura. And then he goes like, Moin said like he liked this, so I got this. So there are a lot of people like that who will just go along with whatever I say. But I feel my wife is that prime person who can stop me and say you are stupid. I actually encourage this within my team. So you mentioned earlier you need to surround yourself with smarter people. I have a similar belief. I don't want to be in a room where I'm the smartest person.
Yeah.
And I encourage my team to point out my mistakes. Even during product development, like I may be too I may have too much passion, and I may not be thinking it correctly, maybe through technical or business wise. And I encourage them like to point out, like, Moin, this is wrong. You are an idiot. I encourage them to do this. So yeah, I feel wives play a very critical role because outside of work, they are the only people we spend our time with.
Yeah, I agree.
And if it gets pushed on us, then especially from the wife, if they say something, we can't say no. So
Yeah,
yeah,
of
that's
course.
amazing.
Yeah, but finding the right partner is definitely not easy.
Correct.
I'm not saying like just go and get married to anyone and then
100%
it's
don't get married to random
no,
person.
no, just obviously like try to really find that one person that gets the best out of you. That would be my recommendation to people.
Yeah, maybe we can chat another time about your story.
Yeah.
Maybe personally one on one. But I want to know like what you are passionate about outside work and family. Like, do you have any hobbies? Do you play billiards, bowling, like anything like that?
Yeah, I love tennis.
Wow.
I love playing tennis. Yeah, that tennis. I played tennis like almost all my life. My tennis partners are a 83-year-old man and a 67-year-old man, and obviously one younger guy, in his 20s, right? But to be honest, I used to play a lot with younger people, but now I'm playing more and more with older people.
So yeah, I play snooker.
Nice.
And I have a similar circle, and Sarfaraz, my co-founder. I'm like, man, the kind of wisdom you get here,
It's crazy.
It's
It's insane.
Yeah,
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Like, and I get the same thing. I get the same thing from like almost like you're a loser. Like, why are you doing hanging out with these
correct.
people?
They don't get
And
it.
I'm like, you have no clue. Like, the kind of advice they give you, and I don't play with just an 83-year-old man and a 67-year-old man. He started in Stanford, did his master's in Columbia,
Amazing.
traveled all over the world, speaks several languages, was a business school professor. Crazy life.
Wow.
Crazy life stories. He went through pain and rebuilt himself. They're so inspiring, that when you talk about your problems, you feel like a child, and then they start opening up and telling you about all their and the other man I play with, like the 67-year-old man, same thing, business owner. He like started working in marketing before like the digital world, so he was making billboards all over. And so when I told to him about selling, like he will give me such awesome tips on how to sell face to face, big deals. No marketing, no digital, so it must be super hard, man. You're like almost like you take the phone book and then you dial people. You have to make you have to put a lot of effort in connections, because
Correct.
that's like the old school way, the LinkedIn, like how you used to like build your own LinkedIn in the past. So yeah, honestly, when I play tennis with them, I have such massive respect for them that it's not just about tennis. It's like 50% tennis, but then the other 50 is like socializing and learning, having a coffee after. And honestly, if I want to just work out, I'll just go to the gym, put my headphones.
True.
But one advice I have for men in general, not to isolate yourself too much. Try to connect with other like-minded people, especially through hobbies. I think that can open a lot of doors, not just business-wise, but also in your own mind. You start opening your
True.
mind.
It evolves you as a person totally. And as humans, again, like there's a saying from Quran, like you should learn from others' examples. So when, as humans, we kind of resonate a lot to pain than happiness, which has been painful. Automatically, we kind of get teachings which, trust me, I don't think any school or university can teach that. So yeah, life is the best teacher, and I'm glad like I happened to meet you and get to know you as a person, and I'm sure a lot of people will also get inspired from your stories. Before we close, like our session for the day, I have last two questions. The first thing is like, if you have to manifest something in the near future for yourself, what would it be?
Building, I really just find balance in life. That is something I promised to myself now this year. The past 2 years just working at Instantly, I think I was like doing 14 hours a day. It's not scalable, so it's also important to just sometimes realize when you're just going too hard into things. And now I'm just going to try to balance things a little bit, just spend more time with the family, but always keeping in mind that at the end of the day, money comes and goes, but our family is the only one that will be there when times are very tough. So
I hope 2025 is the year you find your balance.
Yeah.
And one last thing, there might be a couple of questions which may have missed out or may not have answered during this video. So if anyone wants to learn about cold emailing, what is the preferred way to learn through Instantly?
So we have a Facebook community, 50,000 members, Cold Email Masterclass by Instantly. You can look it up in Facebook. We have a YouTube channel.
I'll add the link to the video.
Yeah, we have a YouTube channel as well with, I think, 30,000 subscribers, maybe
Amazing.
35,000, something around that. We have more than 1,000 videos there. We teach everything called email. I also do a lot of live webinars there and sessions teaching people. We have the Instantly Accelerator program where we teach everything called email. So yeah, we have a bunch of content in different platforms, so people can.
Sounds good. Anything else you would like to add for the audiences who's watching this?
Yeah, I would like to just finish this like thanking you for having me as your guest. Like for me, it's an honor and a pleasure. I respect.
It's
you a
actually an
lot.
honor for me.
And yeah, I want to thank you for always making sure that I have an awesome time in Dubai. You're really convincing me like to move to Dubai. Because
I am convincing everyone who's visiting you.
So you're a good ambassador for like doing business in Dubai and in general. So like, I think the government should like give you an award or something. Kudos to you.
Hope so.
Yeah.
I hope this goes to the sheikhs. I'm a sheikh myself.
Yeah. But yeah, so just wanted to wish you and everyone a blessed 2025. We're just starting the year, and just a message to everyone out there: just keep working hard, be consistent, keep innovating, connect and surround yourself with the right people, and just success be on the way.
Amazing words, man. Thanks, Felipe, for your time. And I know you are busy, so taking out a couple of hours from your busy schedule, for me, it means a lot to me, and I would be forever grateful. And I would say like it's a good start, like the first episode of this series where I want to bring in a couple of top minds or people who are really crushing it. I think I have found the best one right from the start. So thanks a lot for that.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.